One of the things that made Capcom's Mega Man series so enduring and beloved was just how flexible the character and the IP at large turned out to be. While the original game started out as action platformers, over time, Mega Man branched out and appeared in genres as wide-ranging and eclectic as action-adventure games, puzzle games, hack-and-slash games, and even role-playing games. That last one is what Mega Man Battle Network was, yet another sub-series reinterpreting the mythos of Mega Man through a role-playing lens. Battle Network was created in the wake of Pokemon's explosive success, even though in terms of actual moment-to-moment gameplay, the two series end up diverging a fair bit. Like Pokemon, however, Mega Man Battle Network was created for Nintendo handhelds, the GBA at the time. Like Pokemon, the release came in dual split versions. Well, the later ones anyway. The first two were singular releases each. Like Pokemon, the series involved a significant collection element. However, the similarities end there, and the actual structure and gameplay of the two IPs is much more different than a lot of impressions would have you believe. The chief difference was, of course, in the battle system, which plays like a simplified tactical RPG, and mixes in some real-time elements into the mix as well. In battles, you have a specific limited range of movement, as do your enemies, and other than a basic weak attack always available to you, your abilities and powers are dictated by the chips that you have on your hand. You get to change your loadout every turn, itself governed by a meter that fills up in real time, and depending on the chips that you use, you can end up with buffs, debuffs, damage-dealing attacks, heals, support moves, or some combination and variation of those. Multiple rules govern what kind of chips you can use, and when, for example, ordinarily you can only use one chip per turn, but you can stack multiple chips together in the same turn if they are compatible, denoted by them having the same letter rating. Or if you forego equipping any chips for a turn, what chips you get in battle depend on which ones that you found in the world, either by exploring or by beating enemies, and equipped to your character. It sounds a lot like a lot to keep track of, particularly for a kid-friendly version of an already kid-friendly franchise, but the game all comes with an excellent, if unfortunately unskippable each time no matter how many times you've experienced it within the franchise, tutorial, just to make sure that you're fully caught up on what's going on. There's also very little variation in the battle system across the 6 games, and the dual versions of the latter 4, meaning you only really have to play some of them, and you're all set in all 6. Oh sure, there are some differences. The ability to run from battles without using a specific chip didn't exist until the second game, for some reason, and later games did try to add some wrinkles to the mix, such as a synchronicity meter for critical hits and a charge beam for your basic attacks, but by and large, these games all play the same. It's the same kind of familiarity and sameness that the original games had to begin with. Between 2001 and 2005, Capcom released 6 of these games, and all of them shared their battle system, the same characters, the same locations, and even a lot of the same plot beats and themes. All of these were, at a bare minimum, good games. There's no obviously weak link in the package here, unlike, for example, the classic Mega Man series or the Mega Man X games. And while there are some games that are definitely less beloved than others, the original and the last game are both considered weaker than, for example, the third game, which is a fan favorite, all 6 of these are solid, satisfying, and fun RPGs, albeit ones that should really not be played back-to-back. Their strong 16-bit art style and aesthetic, their strong soundtrack, their aforementioned unique battle system, and even their surprisingly prescient stories foreseeing the rise of smartphones and a constantly connected society, as well as the accompanying cybercrime that comes with that territory, all make playing at least one of them very much worth it for the RPG or Mega Man fans. It helps that the Legacy Collection itself seems to be a pretty good compilation of these games too. All the original games are emulated extremely well, with players also getting the option to play through a high-res filter that smooths out the look. Why you would do that, I don't know, but you can. The option to change the borders when you're playing, an optional Max Buster mode that greatly increases your damage and can be turned on or off at any time, except for during online battles where it remains off, an art gallery, a music player, all the special tie-in and event cards that the original games had, including several that never made it out of Japan, and both versions of each game. In quite literally every way possible, this compilation is the definitive way to play these games, unless you really prefer playing your games on original hardware, in which case good luck hunting down a GBA copy of all 10 games included here. Which means when it comes down to the quality of the 10 games, well, 6 with 4 variations included here, as mentioned, they are at bare minimum good and at their best, very good games. They are, however, very similar, and even though you get all of them in one package, you really would be advised to treat this as a multi-month, if not multi-year long project. Not because the games are long, usually they take 15 to 30 hours to finish, meaning even the longest one would be on the shorter side for an RPG today, but because playing them without a break is the easiest and most effective way I can think of to get yourself to hate these games. These games aren't great. They don't hit the purity of design that Mega Man Classics have, the fluidity and exciting kinetic dynamism that Mega Man X has, or the sheer heights that Mega Man Legends has. They are the Saturday morning adaptation equivalent of a property that was already like a Saturday morning cartoon to begin with. You will like them, but they're a bit like strongly scented vanilla ice cream. It makes an impression, but not nearly enough for you to try and parse the nuances to its flavor. But they are good, and this collection is the best way to play them, and a loving and reverential homage to them, adding a whole bunch of cool concessions and goodies without diluting the spirit of the original games. If you like Mega Man, get this collection. If you like RPGs, get this collection and play at least one of these games, preferably 3. You're not going to fall in love, but you are going to have a good time. And if you end up playing all the games over time, you'll have a lot to work with a very low price of entry as well. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Vault upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.